Thailand's Constitutional Court has handed the country's ruling party a key victory in dismissing an important case brought against the government. The government had been attempting to make changes to the constitution that some had argued would threaten the role of the country's monarchy. The court dismissed all the petitions against the government but ruled that a referendum was necessary to decide whether the changes could go ahead. For more on this, we're joined by our Southeast Asia correspondent, Zoe Daniel. Zoe, explain this case to us, because at its core it was about, as I mentioned, amending the constitution, but it was enough to stir up some lingering dissatisfaction about where Thailand is politically at the moment.
Indeed. Look, the opponents of the government have read these constitutional reforms as being designed to bring Thaksin Shinawatra, the former Prime Minister of Thailand, back into the country. He's living in exile in Dubai, having been ousted in a coup in 2006 and subsequently charged and convicted of corruption. As part of these constitutional changes, there are related reconciliation bills, and the government's opponents believes that they're designed to bring Thaksin back. And that's one of the reasons that the opposition's been so vehemently opposing these changes. And one of the issues that they raised is that the constitutional change at its core was designed to oust the monarchy in Thailand and to completely change the political system. That's something that the government has denied, and their denials have been borne out in the Constitutional Court today. That particular case was dismissed. And while the court found that the government does have the right to change the constitution, it says that it can't completely rewrite it without a referendum. So individual changes can be made within the parliament, but if it wants to rewrite the constitution altogether, it would have to be decided by the people.
It was widely predicted that the court's decision would trigger some form of protest on the streets of Bangkok particularly. Has this inconclusive result averted that for now?
I think it has, and I think that the court chose the least incendiary result, probably to partly avoid the sorts of issues that we could have seen from either pro-government red shirts or anti-government yellow shirts. What the court has done by saying a referendum is necessary is essentially thrown it back on the government to say, well, yes, you have the legal right to change the constitution, you'll have to find a way of doing that for individual clauses, and if you want to rewrite the whole thing, then take it to the people and let them decide. And in essence, the red shirts have seen that as a victory, and the yellow shirts will have difficulty in really resisting that solution, because after all, the people will get to decide if a referendum is held.
Yingluck Shinawatra is saying she's going to push ahead with these changes because she says she owes it to Pheu Thai's supporters. Is there any indication as to how she's going to roll it out? Because the flashpoint issue remains, doesn't it?
Well, yes, it does. And Yingluck Shinawatra has a core issue, which is that she's Thaksin Shinawatra's sister. And the opposition will always really push against her for that reason and see everything that she does as designed by her brother, who's sitting in Dubai, somehow pulling the strings from a distance. That's been a real problem for the government over the last 12 months. It's made it very difficult for them to enact reforms that they want to enact, because every time they try to do something, they encounter this political resistance and the potential for unrest. So it will complicate it further for her.
Zoe, on another issue, King Bhumibol Adulyadej, who's widely revered in Thailand, we know, had been reported overnight to be ill. There was reports of some bleeding in his brain. What's the latest?
Look, the King has been out and about more lately than he has been in a couple of years, since he first was hospitalised in 2009. He had planned to take a helicopter trip this weekend to one of Thailand's provinces, but we heard while we were at court actually today that that trip has been cancelled, that some blood vessels in his brain have been bleeding, minor bleeding, that he was having difficulty moving one of his hands, and that he's been ordered to rest by doctors. But the palace says that he is stable.
All right, Zoe Daniel, our reporter in Bangkok. Thank you.